Hello, welcome to Western Wisconsin Journal. I'm Meg Heaton. I'm a retired reporter with the Hudson Star Observer. I am very familiar with the Hudson Library and have done a series of stories over the 27 years I was with the paper. And I think it's no secret to anyone who's lived in Hudson that the library has faced a variety of big challenges over the years, everything from funding to finding and securing a really beautiful new home in the heart of Hudson, which we all appreciate very much. But through all of those challenges, the library, with its dedicated staff, the library board, the library foundation, the Friends of the Library, all of these folks have continued to provide and expand the services to our area residents. This newest challenge, which initially has shuttered the building, is no different from what I can tell, as the libraries work to create a new and interesting way to meet the needs of the community and still provide the services and be the kind of the center of information for Hudson. My guest today is Shelley Tugas, who is the Adult and Youth Services Coordinator. Tina Norris, the head librarian, had planned on joining us, but her internet got cut by the guys next door. So we're blaming them. So we miss you, Tina. We wish you were here. But luckily, Shelley can answer most of the questions we have, I'm sure. And for a place that is physically not open, it certainly seems that there is a lot going on at the library, Shelley.
There is, Tina, the director, Tina Norris, is a planner for sure. And weeks and weeks before people were seriously thinking about coronavirus making its way to the Midwest, she sat down with me and another staff member and said, we need to have a plan. And so we talked a lot about a phase 1, a phase 2, a phase 3, and how we would approach everything, including virtual services. And I'll tell you, it happened a lot faster than we were expected. I think we went from phase 1 to phase 3 in like a day and a half, just how quickly everything started to move. And at that point, we were just like, we have to reinvent our entire service model because we don't know how long this is going to go on, and even if it's short term, it would be irresponsible for us to just check out for a month or 6 weeks. We have to be here. And there's, no time to start a new strategic plan. We just had to come up with our ideas and take it and run. And our staff has been so incredible because, it's using a lot of technology we've never used before and doing things in a way we've never done them before. And instead of saying like, oh, I need more time, or this isn't going to work, or I don't know if I like this idea, everyone just said, yep, what's next? What's next? Give me the next assignment. Let's go. And so that has been really amazing. So we focused on two main things. And one, of course, is being an accurate, reliable source of information for people. So we have a virtual library center with all kinds of resources, mental health resources, financial resources, things you can go to in the community for help, COVID information. And then the second part was virtual programming. We do a lot of programming. Last year, we had 20,000 people come into the building for programs. Mm-hmm. And so we know that's a huge part of what we do. Mm-hmm. And we didn't want to let that go just because the doors had to be locked.
Mm-hmm. So when you talk about, let's talk about the library center first. How do people access that? What does it look like?
That's kind of simply on our website, the main page, so hudsonpubliclibrary.org, mm-hmm. and one of the drop downs is Virtual Library Center. And so we'll get you to all of those resources that we just talked about, including mm-hmm. some really fun family stuff, online experiences. And those include everything from, touring the San Diego Zoo to virtual field trips and just other really fun things that we've curated from the internet that we think kids will like, and teens as well.
That's good. Yeah. In terms of the information on COVID and the resources, where do you get that information from?
Well, we're using a lot of course, the official sources, and mm-hmm. it's great just to have that in one area. I mean, I think everybody knows, for example, you can go to the CDC and the State Department of Health, but to have all those links in one convenient spot is really helpful. And we also put up a link to what to look out for in terms of misinformation and some of the shoddiest websites out there. And hopefully that's going to help people, because we don't need misinformation and fear. There's enough of it already. And to what extent we can clarify and get people pointed in the right direction, I think is really important right now.
Well, especially if people, who are regular users of the library too, they're comfortable with that site, they know how to use it, and so to be able to get that kind of information must be good for the library and good for readers as well.
Yes. And we also have a lot of people who just follow us on Facebook, maybe don't go to the website as much, because we do a really good job of keeping our posts fresh and new content up there several times a day. And that's a shortcut for a lot of people who do spend time on Facebook. And there's probably some more of that lately, because people are looking for community, and that's one way they can get it. And we have like 2,200 followers. So that's a nice number from the community. Of course, more is always better. Anybody who's watching, it's a good place to see what's going on.
How about those folks that, older folks or whatever when I've been in the library, there's a lot of older patrons in there who, that's just their go-to place once a certain day every week. How about them, reaching them if they're not also into the internet and that kind of technology stuff?
Right. We still do an old-fashioned phone service, and we're encouraging people to call. We've had calls about, how can I get this tax information? I heard the deadline was extended. What is it? And we still have our phone staffed every day, 10 to 6. And actually, we have some of our older patrons we've just checked in on, because we know them. And also they call just for a quick chat because they're really lonely. And we're excited to be able to do that and know that they're okay, and let them know that we miss them. We also had our friends at the library had a bunch of large print materials. And so they made some donations to some of the senior centers. So there's some extra materials out there for them.
Absolutely. Yeah. So would this be a good time to talk about the curbside?
Sure. We also should talk about some of the virtual programming, but
the virtual, whichever you think, wherever you want to start.
Curbside has been, they've been doing it in Minnesota for a little bit longer because our governor's orders were different. And we weren't able to do it until last week, I believe was the first. So we've tried to make it as easy as possible. Now, a lot of people are very familiar with going into their More library account and placing holds. Those people are great. It's super easy for them. We know that's not a comfort zone for a lot of people, so we want them to know, call us or email, whatever is most convenient. We also have Chat with the Librarian feature on our website, so you can just go in and do a quick chat. But we are getting a lot of phone calls. For some people, adding another thing to learn is just what they just don't need it right now. So we're really happy to just pick up the phone and work with people one-on-one, look for their holds for them, make book recommendations for them. So people put in their orders that way. We do paging slips, gather them, and then we call people to set up an appointment. They have a 10-minute window in which they can come. And that way we can assure we're social distancing and we don't have 5 or 6 people coming to that outdoor table at the same time. And we're minimizing how many hands get on those books. Staff have masks and gloves. And we put them in paper bags with a note recommending that people quarantine them for 24 hours.
Okay. Yeah. And
it's working very well.
Can they, so they can access it through the More library system or give you a call and ask for something specific or a recommendation from you or whatever.
Exactly.
And it can be curbside. Okay. And does that apply to everything, like video, DVDs and music and everything that you have?
Yep. We're checking out everything except we have some STEAM kits in the kids area and some of our lawn games. We're hoping maybe to add that, is we know this might go on longer, but we figured we should get this part of the system worked out first. I know those first 2 days we had 500 items requested.
Wow.
So people are hungry. for books and movies, and that was an incredible amount. So we're a little bit backed up. I know there are another 400 orders that came in overnight and this morning.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And we have the safer at home order, and people want people to stay home, and this helps them stay home.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's nice to know that they're still looking to the library for help through this, Let's talk about that virtual programming, because, the programming at the Hudson Library has always been a really important part. I mean, particularly the children's programming, but now you're doing things with teenagers and, a whole variety of things. So let's talk about that.
Sure. Well, we really ramped up programming. The goal that was set for me is to increase the number, variety, and quality of programs that we were offering, and to make sure we were covering all ages a little better, and especially hitting that teen audience, because you can imagine they're super challenging. They're super busy. Right. So we've moved everything to a couple of online formats, and I'll just give you a couple examples off of YouTube. First of all, we're doing our story times at their regularly scheduled time on YouTube. Because of the publisher's guidelines, we can't just leave them up. There are copyright issues. So we can run the story time during the normally allotted time. And our story time person, Miss Sarah, is doing a really fun thing. You remember Romper Room, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I see Meg, and I see Tina, and
Romper, Stomper, Bumper, Boo. I remember that. Oh, cool. That's good.
Yeah. So if parents send her information, like we're going to be watching Tuesday at 10:15, and my kids' names are Sawyer and Annie, she will take a moment to say, I miss Sawyer and Annie, and I hope you're having a great day. And the kids.
Oh my God, that would be something.
Yeah. So she also is doing something called Story in a Bag, where she gets these random articles of stuff and throws them in a bag and pulls them out, and then creates a story on the spot and tells kids how they can do that at home. We have crafts for kids. I'm doing a novel read aloud for the older kids. And actually the Star Observer just did a wonderful story on Christopher Mick, who is our NASA ambassador and educator. So it's a pretty special thing for a library to have a NASA ambassador on staff. And he's been doing these really cool STEM activities on YouTube. And some of them, he's specifically looking for very common household items so kids can replicate if they want. And then some, he's just doing some stuff that it's a little bit more complicated and out there, and some space stuff as well.
Yes.
So those have been amazing. And we're doing crafts and some cooking stuff, and particularly cooking for kids. I'll tell you, we started doing cooking programs for kids maybe a year and a half ago. Wow, those fill up in a heartbeat, and they love it. And so we're trying to put a few more of those out there, like especially for little ones. How could you make your own lunch today? Because the adults in the house are working on Zoom. And some things like that. Maybe they can help out a little bit more. So for teens, there's a forum out there. We have a teen librarian who is wonderful and really plugged into the teens. And they're using something called Discord. I had never heard of it, but it's a big deal. And it's a really handy, easy, and safe way for them to interact, because all of the participation has to go through us. We have to send you an invite. So there's no infiltrating this site, which is something we would always worry about with kids.
Sure.
And he's doing a Dungeons and Dragons club, so they can play online, a teen book chat, a teen music chat, and a writing club. And he's adding more things pretty much every week for them.
Wow. And
I'll tell you, teen book clubs have been just a huge challenge. And it's not because teens don't like to read. They do. They're just so busy. And we're having better attendance on our Discord forum for teens than we were in person.
Sure.
So that's been super exciting to see.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And for adults, we're using Zoom to do some book clubs. I'm also next week doing a scavenger hunt on Zoom with kids, like a household scavenger hunt. It's going to be really fun. So they all sit in a group, and I try to keep these groups smaller because you've been doing enough Zoom to know how awkward it can get.
It can get, yeah.
But like, okay, everybody go see if you can find a paperclip. And then everybody runs around their house trying to find a paperclip, and they come back and show it. And then we move on from there and just keep going. Can you go find a needle and thread? So you thought that's really fun. I tested it with a group and they loved it.
So is the schedule of when these things take place on the website?
It is on the
center,
website.
or
Yep, it's on the website.
Library Center, I mean?
Yep. We also, we have a web calendar, so they all go in the calendar so you know the days and times. And then we have Facebook posts and a Facebook event section. So that's how we've been managing that.
You know, we've been interviewing a lot of community organizations and nonprofits, and it's amazing to me that the pandemic seems to have really brought people together, as opposed, I mean, even though we're separated, you know, or whatever, we're staying away from each other, but there's great collaboration in the community. Is that what you're experiencing as well?
Oh, absolutely. You know how busy the United Way has been. It's just incredible. And so I wanted to have a little conversation with them for our channel. And, you know, they just rearranged everything to make that happen because they want to share the information. They want to work with other groups. We're still really active with our Kiwanis Club we're a member of. And we joined one of the food pantry, drive-by food pantry with books that we could give to families, including the adults, because we do that a lot, giveaways of books for kids. But you know what? Moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas are bored too. Yeah. So we were able to do that book giveaway, and that was really fun. And we're looking for more opportunities like that with the food pantries, if they can, you know, accommodate it with some of their space.
Sure. The other thing, in looking at what you're experiencing now, and people kind of discovering new ways to access your information. Going forward, when we come out on the other side of this, I think everyone's kind of coming to the realization that we're going to have a new normal. It's not going to go back to the way it was. Right. What do you anticipate you will carry forward and make a regular part of how the library operates and serves the community?
Sure. For sure, this Discord program with teens, because this is already their comfort zone. And, you know, some of them have access to cars. Some might want to participate events, but they have a driver's license, but no vehicle. And this is a great way for them to plug in and get involved. So I'm sure we'll be doing that. We'll also probably, survey, do some kind of feedback from people about what they liked best. And what they might want to continue to do that way. You know, particularly maybe in the winter when, you know, we just deal with bad roads and it can be hard to get out. So I think that'll be good to find out. Some of our book clubs might work well on Zoom if they're small enough. And the other thing I can see is doing maybe a weekly online story time for families that it's hard to get out to come to story time. One thing we did started about a year ago. Our story times had all been in the morning, and we recognized that there are parents who are using daycare who want to have a story time experience with their child. So we started doing a snacks and PJ story time Thursday nights, and that has been a big hit. Everybody comes to PJs, including Miss Sarah. And we have animal crackers, and we do a nighttime story. And then at the end, we try to get everybody calmed down with maybe some stretching and breathing exercises, versus morning where we're like, go everybody, get wild, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So as you, and I mean, do you have any kind of sense in terms that you mentioned, or, you know, having to put aside kind of a strategic plan and everything, but if we can think beyond all of this, what do you see in the library's future?
Well, here's something. This is the most disappointing part, is not really knowing what's going on yet this summer. And so we are quickly going to reinvent our summer reading program, either as a hybrid virtual in person, or maybe maybe purely virtual. And that normally consists of, kids reading and earning prizes for reading, but we also have a summer performance series. And 2 years ago, we started doing summer camps for kids. We had 7 camps planned this year. One of them we do in partnership with the Historical Society, Pioneer Hudson, we call it. And I just don't know if we're going to be able to do those. So can we adapt the camp experience online?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a challenge. Summer is our biggest time. Kids are in there. We just have the greatest time. And they come also because we have this amazing toy collection. Well, we're not going to be able to sanitize toys after every kid touches them.
No, yeah.
And so that probably won't be out for quite some time. So those are some things we're thinking about long term. And then winter, I don't know. We have started these really large community parties. We do a Christmas party with Santa. And, we get 350 people to our trick-or-treat trail on Halloween. We did live action Candyland. And we're not going to be able to have large groups for some time to come. So how is all that going to play out? We're going to have to talk about that. And we're also have a digital divide,
Right. Yeah.
The best part is we have all this online stuff. People can work from home. They can do school from home. But not everybody has this access.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the school district did amazing work. Right away, they were able to get Chromebooks to families without them and hotspots. So people could get online for their kids in school. A lot of school districts probably weren't able to do that.
Right.
And we have a lot of non-school district families, whether they're empty nesters or you mentioned some of our seniors who aren't plugged in that way. And we really have to figure out a way to best connect with them because
your demographic is across the board from the very youngest of us to the oldest of us, and that makes what you guys do so unique, I think.
Yeah. And we don't want to leave anybody behind.
Well, it sounds like you've got it pretty well covered, and it sounds like people are taking advantage of it. If people have, like you said, though, if people have questions or about how they can access library materials or how they can get onto these, they can just pick up the phone and do the old-fashioned thing and call you, right?
And I know some people are like, oh, nobody wants to take calls anymore. Oh, we do.
Yeah.
We'd love to know how you're doing. That's the thing. The building is usually so vibrant and active, and we especially miss our kids so much. And, that's another thing I should have mentioned is there's great online content, right? I mean, you can find amazing stuff out there. But what our kids need right now are some familiar faces.
Right.
Their teachers, the people at the library they interact with every week. And we know that's the one thing we can give them is a sense of normalcy, a familiar face, a smile, and hopefully that's helping families that their kids have that. And that's why it's important for us to do a lot of our own programming.
Absolutely. Is there anything, we've talked a lot about what you guys are doing for the community. Is there any kind of support or things that the community can do to support the library?
Sure. Go to our YouTube channel, which you can just search YouTube for Hudson Area Public Library. Do you know how many Hudson libraries there are out there?
Yes, there are.
Yes. If you just look for Hudson, you're going to get a lot of libraries.
You can end up in the middle of Texas and not know it.
Right. And so like and subscribe. That's great. Follow us on Facebook. More followers helps spread the information. And I know our Library Foundation, which is a separate organization, will be doing its usual annual campaign at the end of the year. And it's going to be a tough year for people to give to some of the normal organizations that they give to. And just to let people know, even those really tiny checks help. All of our programs are funded from donations, not tax dollars. Those parties I mentioned, the camps, summer reading program, those are all donations. And so no donation is going to be too small, and it will help us continue to do those things for families and kids and seniors.
Great. Is there anything else I haven't asked you about that you'd like to mention?
I don't think so. I did want to mention that we do a daily challenge on Facebook, and then we do a drawing, and we're using some of those foundation dollars to buy gift cards for our local businesses to
Oh, that's a great idea.
add a little bit more support out there. And so once a week, we'll do a drawing and give away a $20 gift card to a local indie business. And that's been really fun. And the challenges are easy. It's like, tell us your favorite library memory. And a lot of the kids are participating with the parent typing in the answers, and the adults too. So I've been really happy to do that, because I think the main thing that we all want is we want Hudson to still be Hudson when this is all over.
Mhm.
And that means we want our businesses back. We want our government institutions back, our nonprofits, the school, families. We want to emerge from this as strong as possible. And so we all have to do our parts.
Yeah. Well, I think the I Heart Hudson campaign, it should be gearing up pretty soon, and that should be a lot of fun as well.
Yeah.
So, well, Shelley, thank you very much. We learned a lot today, and as we expect to always do from the library, learn stuff. So thank you very much, and continued good luck in the virtual world.
Thanks so much, Meg. Appreciate it.
Thank you.